Our next speaker is someone near dear to my heart. We've been working many, many years together, gathering signatures to stop dark money from infiltrating and taking over our democracy. Merrill Eisenberg. Merrill Eisenberg has been active in social justice and policy work since the 80s, working on the Dark Money Initiative since 2016. She describes herself as a sucker for democracy. Other public policy projects have included organizing in Southern Arizona for the 3 fair elections referenda last year, leading the successful effort to pass an urban agriculture zoning code in Tucson, making fresh food available at the neighborhood level in 2015. She successfully advocated for smoke-free laws in several Tucson area jurisdictions and statewide in the 2000s. She was a key player in amending the Connecticut State Constitution to include people with mental and physical disabilities in the Equal Protection Clause, and her studies and research were the basis for the Connecticut legislature to reorganize all services for people with disabilities in the 80s and the 90s. Retired from the U of A College of Public Health, Merrill now volunteers her time and expertise to defending democracy, and we are so proud to have her in our community. Here's Merrill.
Thank you, Tamara. I'm so happy to be here today. This is our 4th try, and we're going to be on the ballot. It's just so amazing. Prop 211 is Arizona's answer to Citizens United, which in 2010 opened the door to unlimited, anonymous political spending in American politics. So I'm not going to give you a primer on what Citizens United did, because I'm sure you all know that. But why is anonymous spending bad? There's 3 major points. It opens the door to corruption or the perception of corruption, and the best example of that is when the Arizona Public Service gave over $14 million to elect the regulators they wanted, and so then they got a huge rate increase, of course. The second reason is because foreign influence is prohibited in all American elections. This is a federal law. It's been on the books for many, 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 many years. And if donors don't say who they are, how do you know if they are foreign or not? So there's a conflict there with another state federal statute that's very important to think about. And then the last reason, which I think we can all relate to, is that if you're an anonymous giver, and these are people who are giving thousands and thousands and maybe millions of dollars, you can spread negative ads and lies about people and nasty advertising with no reputational risk. No one can call you on it. The candidate doesn't have to say it, because you'll say it for them. And so we've all lamented the terrible tone our elections have taken since Citizens United. And so this is one way to get this out of our elections. So what does 211 do? It doesn't do everything. It doesn't keep my paper on the podium. For one thing, it only applies to state-level elections. Our congressmen and senators are federal-level elected people, and they are, overseen by the FEC, and they have nothing to do with this. So it wouldn't help us when we vote for U.S. reps and senators. But everything else on the ballot, from governor, statewide, any statewide office, this is ridiculous. On down the ballot to local level, this would apply to the little hand. Thank you. So it applies to all other elections in Arizona only. It is also focused on big spenders, not little spenders. So it requires that dark money organizations who contribute at least $50,000 to a statewide election or $25,000 to a lower level election. Those are the organizations that will have to report their contributors. It also, they only have to report contributors who gave at least $5,000. So we're looking at not people who give $50. Now, by the way, if you give $50 to the party, to a PAC, or to a candidate, you have to say who you are, where you live, where you work, what your occupation is. These other people don't have to say anything. So it also includes a private right of action, and it's going to be overseen by the Clean Elections Commission, which is already there, so that's great. It's nonpartisan and applies to all conservative groups all groups, not just conservative groups. And in the early years of Citizens United, the conservatives had far more dark money than the Democrats. It was horrible. But now the Democrats have caught up, and so it applies to both sides of the aisle. There's 4 arguments that are made against Stop Dark Money. The first is, well, this is a radical new idea from the crazy left. Why should we have to do this, And that's not true because, as I said, Arizona has had disclosure laws for many years, and the Supreme Court found all these disclosure laws, every state has them, they're constitutional. That was decided in 1934. So it's not a radical new idea. Okay, second reason, my business will suffer if people know that I gave money to whatever, The Supreme Court, again, ruled in Doe v. Reed the same year as Citizens United that there is no right to hide in the Constitution when making political contributions. And according to Antonin Scalia, they fully expected the states to now rewrite their disclosure laws to include money coming in from these corporations, but that never happened. So the rest of us have to identify ourselves, but why don't they, Third is, I'll be harassed if people know where I stand on some of these issues. Well, that might be true, but there are laws against harassment already on the books, so you can always do that. And this is one of my favorite quotes from Antonin Scalia, not exactly a paragon of leftist kind of attitudes. He said, this was in conjunction with Doe v. Reed, harsh criticism short of unlawful action is a price our people have traditionally been willing to pay for self-governance. If you like democracy, you got to stand up for what you say and say who you are. So the fourth reason they give is that requiring disclosure will result in a decline in political participation because all these bajillionaires won't be giving bajillions of dollars anymore. Well, only for the very wealthy will it decline political participation. They can still give the money, they just have to say who they are. And finally, we've heard this a lot, the voters don't really care about this issue. It's too complicated, and it has been very hard to talk about it in public and all of that. But the voters don't care, tell them it ain't so. We need everyone to vote yes on Prop 211. The campaign is going to be pretty low-key, I think, because we don't have a lot of volunteers and, means anymore. It's a bare bones. Luckily, we will not have bumper stickers. You can thank us for that. But we are writing on people's cars, yes on Prop 211, and you can see we've already done some, and I have someone out there right now who's willing and able to get it done for you right now. If you want to do it today as you're leaving, I'll be out there too. But also, I brought with me 6 big markers, and this is water-soluble stuff and all of that. So if 6 people would each take a marker and commit to doing 10 cars, that would be great. So that's something I wanted to mention to you. And also I'm looking we're getting these huge signs tonight at 5 o'clock. They're 4 feet by 3 feet to go on. I'm getting 40 of them to put up around town. I need someone to help me do that. I don't have a clue on how to do that or where to put them. And so I'm looking for input from anybody who can help with the signage. That would be great. We will be getting regular signs for lawn signs, and we can put them on the street too. Those will be coming within 2 weeks, I'm thinking. But we need volunteers, especially for signs and car painting. So I have a lot more information when we do the speed dating part, but that's my thing.